friends, as you can see, we are back with something really interesting. Dynamics 365 Sales Module Part 1. Sales Module is too big for me to cover in one part. If I try to do that, you guys will go to sleep. So let's not do that. Let's learn, get our feet wet a little bit with Sales Module. There is not much theory to cover in this particular video. Most of it will be kind of a show and tell. Now, there is a prerequisite for understanding Sales Module or any module in CRM. The prerequisite is DBMS. For those who are not from India, RDBMS or DBMS is a topic or a subject in most undergraduate computer courses, engineering courses, etc. Most of the students do not pay that much attention to this topic. But if you want to understand CRM without any confusion, you need to know DBMS, at least the basics. I'm not going to ask you SQL queries. I'm not going to ask all those, but I will ask you to revise basics of your DBMS. If you don't understand database, you sure as hell will not understand CRM, at least at a technical level. You may still go through functional level of knowledge, but technical level of knowledge will be nil if you don't understand DBMS. Forget about coding, forget about React and controls and everything. This is the crux of CRM. CRM is a software which uses database heavily. And in each module, each part, you will see the use of database. Maybe it is sugar-coated, but it is there. So, first question, do you know what a table is? Try to jog your memory. A table is a collection of related records. Remember? And what are records? Records is a collection of related fields. So, in a table, there are fields, and when you have n number of fields in a row, they become a record. And the record must be related to one thing. You cannot have a record of two people in the same row. That is just not possible, or at least should not be possible. Example, person, employee. Can I keep two employees record in one row? Yes, you can if you want. If you're stupid enough, yes, you can. But that's not the way to design a database. Remember normal forms? First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, Boyks and Cord normal form. Please do brush up on that. Then there is the concept of primary key. What is a primary key? Primary key is the field in a table that uniquely identifies a record. The best example is your employee ID. You must be working somewhere. Your employee ID is your primary key. Or when you were in school, your registration number was your primary key. No, roll number is not a good primary key. Let me be very honest with you. Why roll number is not a very good primary key? Because as you move from one section to another, or one class to another, or one semester to another, the roll number might change. How so? Suppose your roll number was 10, your name starts with S. You move to semester 2 and there's another guy who joins and his name also starts with S. His roll number becomes 10 and you become 11. What happened? Your roll number changed. Not the best thing to do when it comes to primary key. So primary key should always be permanent. Registration number is the best primary key, or enrollment number, whichever word you want to use. The first number which is used to record your registration or your admission in a college is the best one. That should not change, and that should be unique, and it should uniquely identify you. Aadhaar card, Aadhaar number is one of those examples. Correct? So that is primary key. Then comes foreign key. This is important for CRM. Don't forget this one. When you want to relate two tables, you use foreign key. The primary key of one table becomes the foreign key in the second table. Confusing? Not really. Let me ask you this. You are an employee, correct? And there are departments, there are 4 departments in your organization. Let's say, keeping with IT, let's say it's mobile, CRM, SharePoint, and .NET. Suppose these 4 departments are there in your company. Each person can belong to only one department. Not correct exactly, but for example's sake, let's assume that each person can belong to only one department. Now there is an employee table which has your name and employee ID, and then there's a departments table which has a department and a department ID. As I'm telling you that one person can belong only to one department, what will you do? You will put the department ID field or column in the employees table. So the department ID, which is the primary key in the departments table, becomes a foreign key in employees table. Am I making myself clear? So this is very important. This is how we relate records in CRM. So a primary key of a related table is included as a column in your related table, where it is not the primary key anymore, but a foreign key for the related record. So that is your foreign key. Next comes relation. Oh dear. Let me give you a refresher. 1:n, ring a bell? N:1, anything? N:n. Okay, so let me try to give you a bird's eye view of relationship. As I was telling you about foreign key, there is a relation between two tables. Example, employee and the department. I told you about employees and department. So what I said, one employee can be part of one department. All right. But in one department, there can be many employees. Correct? So what is the relationship? What is the relationship? If I draw a ERD diagram or ER diagram between employee and department, you will see it is n:1. Why n:1? Because n number of employees can be part of one department. Therefore, the relationship is n:1. If one employee can be part of many departments, one employee can be part of many departments, then the relationship becomes n:n. Why n:n? Because one department can have many employees and one employee can have many departments. So it's an n:n relationship. How do you show an n:n relationship? You cannot use foreign key. Why? Because in our solution, what we did, we put a column called department ID in the employees table. We put the primary key of departments and employee. Fine. Now the employee is part of two departments, say .NET team and the CRM team. So where will you put the ID for CRM department and .NET department? There's only one column and you have two IDs. You will say, sir, we can make two columns, department 1, department 2. Very good. Excellent choice. Now I tell you that I become the member of the third department. What happens then? You make 3 columns. Excellent. That is what you learned in normal forms, normalizations. Remember? You never ever do this. So what you must do when you have n:n relationship, you have a weak entity in between. Weak entity, weak table, you can use the word, whichever word suits you. There should be a weak entity in between. Why I am calling it a weak entity? I'm calling it a weak entity because the records in the entity cannot be identified uniquely by a primary key. There is no primary key to uniquely identify records. Why? Simple. There will be two keys. One primary key of employee, another primary key of department. So let's assume my employee ID is 001. So I will have 001 for .NET, then I will have 001 for CRM, then I will have 001 for mobile application. So how many records are there? 3 records. Is there anything unique in these 3 records? Can you identify a record uniquely by any key? No, you cannot. Hence, it is called a weak entity. This weak entity sits between the two entities, the employee table and the department table. And the only task of this weak entity is to join these two in a relationship, which is n:n. I hope this jogged your memory and helped you to understand or remember what you learned long ago. Be careful, don't ignore it, don't forget it. This will be used. Next come views. Love them, hate them, but views are there and they are used extensively in database. What are views? To put it simply, view is like an artificial window to a larger set of database. So there's a large set, there's a large scene, lot of data, a wide scene, and you are given a small window through which you can only see a part or a section of that big scene. So that is called view. Assume that I want you to see a table called employee department, but there is no such table. There are 2 tables, employee and department. But I want you to see and work and query a table called employee department. The first choice is create an employee table department. The worst choice you can make. Okay, so don't even think about it. What we will do, we will write a query which will join these 2 tables and we will create a view using that query. So for a person who is interested in looking at the joint data of employee and department can look at that view and treat it as a table, run queries on it, use that view as a table in some other query. It can be done. So it's pretty useful views, but if you go overboard, things become really hard to maintain. Debugging becomes a nightmare. Anyway, that's DBMS. Let's not go there. But views are present in CRM too. Something similar. I can't say that it is exactly the same, but something similar. Moving on. Entities or tables. All right. Just one disclaimer. Because I'm coming from an old-fashioned CRM, I have this habit of saying entities. Those who have started in the last 1.5 years, they are in the habit of calling entities as a table. Please do not confuse it. Both mean the same. And for your knowledge, it is table. I may call it entity, but it is a table, a database with a table. Yeah. So if there is a entity called accounts, it means there is a table called account. So it can be used interchangeably by me because I am in a habit of using the word entity. But if you are starting out now, please get into the habit of using the word table. Entities or tables in sales module. or should I say the most important entities or tables in the sales module. If you think this is your CRM, please don't kid yourself. This is not CRM. CRM has many more tables, but these are the most important ones and the most visible one. There are other tables which might be visible to you, and there are some tables which are not visible to you. We will take them up as they come along. At present, let's focus on these important tables. These tables, or as I say entities, are what makes the sales module work, and some of them will carry on in other modules too, because they are the basic building blocks of a CRM. The first word in CRM is customer. In sales module, there is an entity called customer, but it is not an actual entity. It is a word called customer which may mean account or a contact. Let me explain. What is an account in CRM? I'm not talking about your bank account. Please don't worry. So what is an account in CRM? An account is also known as organization, a company. That is called an account in CRM. So if you are selling something and you are selling it to a company, or you are doing a B2B kind of a business, then account is your customer. Why? Because you are selling it to a business. In an Indian context, assume I am a software developer and I sell softwares. So my company sells software not to individuals, not on the retail market, but it designs software for companies. So my customer is a company or an organization or an account. Correct? If I am doing B2C, then what happens? Maybe I am selling again software, but these softwares are general purpose softwares like FTP, operating system, or visual editors, something like that. IDEs, I'm designing those and I'm selling these to the general public. So that person or the person who buys my software, he may not be related to a company. He may be an independent developer, or he may be a hobbyist, or he may be a student. So he is a contact. An individual person is a contact in CRM and can be customer too, if our business model caters to the consumer directly. Then a contact can be our customer, or a contact can be related to a company. Suppose our customer is a company, but for that company there are 3 people. One is the branch manager, the other one is the sales head, the third one is the CEO, and we want to record the information of our customer's contact in CRM. So what we do, we create an account, say an XYZ company, and then create 3 contacts. One is the CEO, one is the sales head, the other one is the branch manager. So we relate this company with these 3 contacts. What happens? This is the account and the contacts are related to it. Is it clear? These 2 can be clubbed together as customers, but they are completely different entities. Do not ever confuse them. Next one is leads. Pretty simple to understand. Suppose you go to a seminar and you meet a person who gives you his business ID. Yeah? He gives his business card to you. So he becomes your lead, who may become a customer. He is a lead. He is a contact, a lead. Okay, so he has given you a business card. So he may be related to a company or maybe an independent guy. If he is a final consumer, he becomes your lead. If that person is working for a company or represents a company, then that lead becomes the company. Now the lead, what do I mean by lead? Lead means that this person or this customer is a prospect. He might buy something from us. We might be able to sell something to him. He is a lead. If that prospect changes to an opportunity, that means we have been able to convince him or the company to at least have a look at our product. So they are looking at the product. So that becomes our opportunity. Let's assume I'm a software developer and I go to a seminar and I come face to face with, let's say, a government employee, a department head of some government. And he says that, look, we are looking for a automated traffic management system. And I say, oh, are you? I have an automated traffic management system. I have designed it for so many other cities. He says, fine, let us talk. And he gives his business card to me. At that moment, he is a lead. Now I keep this information in the CRM and ask my sales team to pursue this lead. Suppose that guy meets with our sales team and says, okay, fine, I'm interested in your software. Let's have a meeting and discuss. Give me a demo and I may be interested in buying your software. So what it has become now? It has become a strong opportunity. We have an opportunity of selling it. We might be already in a process of selling it. I'm giving you an example. It might be more formal. You may be about to get a sale. So that becomes your opportunity. You have a meeting, you show him stuff, he looks at your software, his team goes through your software, have a field test, everything. Then he says, okay, fine, I'm very happy with your software and I think our team is also happy and we want to buy your software, but what is the price you are quoting? That becomes the quote. You send him a price. Look, we are going to give you 100 licenses of our software for N amount of money. And it will have 1 year of support and 2 years of this and 3 years of that. So that becomes a quote. You have sent a quotation to him. He hasn't accepted it. It's just a quote. He may reject it. He may say it's too costly, change it. And you change the quote. If he accepts it and says, fine, we sign on the dotted line that we are buying your traffic management software for 200 licenses or something like that. That becomes an order in our CRM system. Now order is there, the order has been finalized, he has accepted the order, but now we need to send the invoice. How will we get paid? We will not get paid unless we send an invoice. Invoice can be sent in different stages. It's pretty complicated. Some people send invoice at the beginning, some people send invoice at the end of the service, some people send it after a few days. There might be a number of rules. Let's not go into that, but invoice must be raised. What is an invoice? Invoice is sent to the customer telling him the actual final price of the service or the thing he has bought. You cannot change the price after that. It's not like you send an invoice for 100 rupees and then say, oh, I did a mistake, let's send another invoice for 120. So when you are working on CRM, please be careful about the invoice entity, because invoice entity is related to money and clients are very, very, very touchy about money. Everybody is. Even you are touchy about money. So when an invoice is raised, double check that the data, the amount is correct. These are the important entities which play the major role in sales process. Beside that, there's a collection of entities called product catalog, which has product, price, discount, etc. We will go into a detailed explanation of all these later, but for now understand that I am a software company. I am selling what? I'm selling a software. The software becomes my product. What software? I may have an operating system, I may have a IDE, I may have a text editor. So these becomes 3 different products: IDE, text editor, and the operating system. So these are 3 products which I am selling. These will be recorded in CRM as product. What is the unit of each product? Unit cannot be kilo. Am I selling product by kilo or liter? No. Unit is different for each product. Then what is the price of each product? What is the price list? Is there a price list of this product? So that becomes price list. We have to set these things up. If we don't set price list, there are a lot of troubles. Believe you me, CRM does not like products without price list. Then there's business process flow. This is very important to understand because it is very useful for your client. It may not look that useful to you, but for the client it is very important, and especially the client which believes in lot of paperwork or lot of processes, formal processes. They love business process flow. Business process flow is like a step of processes or steps which you must complete for one process to finish. There is a pre-built business process flow which is called leads to invoice. It has n number of steps which you must complete to change a lead to an invoice. So business process flow forces you to work in a structured manner, and it will not let you move from one step to another unless and until you have fulfilled the requirements of that first step. Once you finish that first step, you have fulfilled all the requirements, all the documents, all the inputs, all the data has been filled in, then you can move to the second step of creating, say, a quote. From there an order, from there an invoice. Unless and until you finish one step, you cannot jump into the second step. That's part 1 of business process flow. But the beauty, the part 2 of business process flow is that you can customize it to no ends. It is heavily customizable. So you can have extra steps, custom steps. You can have branches. You can have merges. You can merge 2 branches. So you can have as much customization as you want, because each client is different and you cannot put a straight jacket on a client that no, it will be leads, then it will be quotes, then it will be orders and invoice. That's it. We won't give you anything else. Bye bye. That is not the way things work in business environment. Each business has a separate workflow, each business has a separate business flow. So these BPF or business process flows can be customized to match the requirement of the company you are designing the CRM for. There's another entity which is not used that much until unless you have done a heavy research, that is called competitor. Competitor is that you keep the record of the competition, the other companies who are in the same field, who might be bidding for the same order. So you keep the record on that and get the insight, the AI to find the weaknesses of your competitor. I hope the entities are clear. You will understand more when you actually use it. Okay, I will show you a little demo of using it. Just to give you a taste of what I'm going to now open is the CRM, and you can see I have highlighted some parts in red. Sorry about my graphic designing. You can easily see why I never became a graphic designer. I'm very bad at designing, but okay, let's start. Can you see that business process flow in between where it is written sales process, qualify, develop, propose, close? Can you see that? That is your business process flow. This is the default one called sales process. You can change it, you can customize it, you can do anything you want. Okay. On top where you see those small buttons, save, new, close as one, close as lost, recalculate, etc., etc. So these are called the ribbon buttons. All the actions which can be performed on this entity or this particular record are on those ribbon buttons. Okay, customizable. They are customizable. Client will ask you to customize it, I'm pretty sure. Then on the right hand side, there's another small red box which I have drawn on the blue bar, right extreme. These are your app bar, the buttons for your app. So you have advanced find, you have quick create, you have global search, you have your settings, help, teams, and all those things are there. We will go through them as we use them. Advanced find, system settings will be used heavily. I will show you quick create. Global search is also useful, so we'll go through that. On the left hand side, you see the small box where it is written sales. This shows you the module which you are working on currently and the other modules which might be available to you. And then there are some other options like personal settings, I think app settings, those are there which you might use to customize your app. Enough of presentation, let's move to some practical. As you can see, I've opened a CRM. Please don't use this CRM. This is just a dummy CRM. It does not belong to my company or it does not belong to anybody. It's just a dummy CRM with dummy data which Microsoft provides. To start with, let me highlight what I showed you just now. This is your ribbon buttons. These are your app bar or app buttons. These are the entities which you have got: accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, etc., etc. This is your module, sales module. Then you have app settings, sales insight, personal setting, help and support. This is the app that you are using. I might have shown this in the other video. You can change your app from here. My favorite is not the Sales Hub. My favorite is the legacy app, this one, Dynamic 365 Custom, because it has everything, all the entities from all the modules. Yeah, if you have license for those modules, you will have all the entities. Much more easier to manage. But it is a legacy app and you should not use it unless and until absolutely necessary. If you are working on sales, please go on the Sales Hub, easiest one. You may be asked to customize Sales Hub, or you may be asked to create something for the sales team, a different app. So why is Sales Hub given by Microsoft? Why not let you customize and create a new model driven app? Because Sales Hub is directly connected to every single update that Microsoft does. Whenever Microsoft updates anything in these entities, forms, views, etc., anything, it will be updated on the Sales Hub unless and until you have done something, some customization that stops that update. Otherwise, it will be updated every time Microsoft updates anything to do with Sales Module. It's an important app which you must use, learn, and get to know it. To begin with, I talked about accounts. Let's go to accounts. So I've clicked on the entity. Remember, that is also called navigation. On the left hand side, the entities which you see are often called as navigations. Why? Because you are navigating to that entity. So I've clicked on accounts and this has opened. What is this? There are two ways of explaining it. The first, my active accounts. This is a view. What is this? This is a view exactly like a DB view, like a database view. It might be showing you only a subset of the bigger superset called accounts. So this is a view and there might be other views. If you click on the small icon, down arrow key, you see these are all the views which are created for you. They are also known as system views. Why are they known as system views? Because these are available to everyone with proper roles, obviously. And then there are few called personal views. There are no personal views at present shown here. We will talk about personal views later, but you can create personal views which are only visible to you in this drop down. It will not be visible to anybody else. If for some reason you want to give access to that view to some other person, you share that view. If you share that view, then it will be available to that particular person with whom you have shared. So this is a view, and each view has a query. Like inactive views, inactive accounts, sorry, it will only show those accounts which have been rendered inactive. All accounts, if I click on all accounts, it will show all the accounts. How do we know that this is dependent on a query? Simple, just click here, edit filter. Can you see that? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a query or a filter, you can say. Click on add rows, select a field. Let me select account name. So I got account name. This becomes the field, and I say it contains, or let's say it starts with, it equal, does not contain, ends with, begins with. It begins with fab. Okay, and I say apply. If I do that, do you see all accounts now is not showing all accounts? It is only showing account names, or the account with the name which begins with FAB, which is only one. Has the view changed in the database? No, the view has not been changed. It has been filtered out temporarily for you. So the view all accounts still remains the same, but you have put an extra filter on this window. If I refresh it, that filter will disappear. Let me refresh it for you. It will take a little time. So let me refresh. And again, you see all accounts is back to normal. If you want to see more columns, as I can see, there is no column for email. Oh, okay, there is email. Zip code. Let's say postcode. I want to see postcode of the address of the company. Why, I don't know, but I want to see it. So what do? You click on edit columns and go to add columns. Is it called postcode? Yeah, there is a post office code or zip postal code. I want to see this. Click on this, close, and you see zip postal code is here. Apply, and it is showing you the postal code. But again, remember, this is temporary. This is not something which has been made permanent. You have just changed a view with extra filter and extra fields, but it is not saved anywhere. It is not available to anybody. It's not even available to you if you refresh it. If I refresh this window, it will not come back. But if you want it in the future, if you want to use this in the future, you must save it. Save as new view. What is the difference between this view and the other views you already see? All the other one are system views. They are available to everyone. If you save a view from here, this view will be only available to you, which is called a personal view, unless and until you share it with someone. So this is called a view. The page which you are looking at is sometimes referred to as home grid. Why is it called home grid? Because when we go inside entity, when we click on the entity through left navigation, it goes into what is called the home of that entity, which shows you a grid with the view. So this grid is populated through the query of this particular view, and this grid is called home grid. Very important nomenclature which you must remember. It is called home grid. If you double click on any record, that particular record will open. Be careful, do not click on these blue items. As you might be aware, blue with underline means it is a hyperlink. If I click on this particular link, it will open the primary contact, not the accounts. If I click on this one, it's fine, it will open the accounts. So let me click on this. What has opened now? This is not a view. This is called a form. This is called a form. It is showing you the same data on the table, but not in the boring grid format, in a table format, which you look in the database. When you write select asterisk from accounts, it will give you a very boring, cryptic kind of a huge table with columns and data which does not make any sense, and the column names will be weird. So this is called a form. Form is a UI item which represents your data in a format which is easy to understand, easy to edit, easy to update. It is completely customizable. It can be changed. New forms can be created. Forms can be shown to particular users, group of users, particular group of users. It can be changed to look the way you want. You can put your company's logo, you can put photographs, you can do anything you want. So it is heavily customizable, and more often than not, you will find yourself customizing it. These are all the fields: account name, phone. These are all the fields in the table called account. Remember, we were talking about DBMS? This is your DBMS. Account name is a field in a table called accounts. Now, be careful. These names which you see, account name, phone, website, parent account, ticker symbol, if you look carefully, you will see that there is a blank space in between. There is a colon somewhere here. And if you remember your RDBMS subject, you will know that blank spaces normally are not allowed or not encouraged in your databases. Same goes for special characters. Special characters are completely no-no. Only an underscore is allowed. So how do these field names have special characters and blank spaces? I am saying these are fields in a table called account. You can come back and ask me, then why is the name not following the rules of the DBMS field name? Because these are not the field names in the table called accounts. These are display names. So each field in CRM has two names. One is called display name. Display name can be changed, can be customized, can be done anything. You can put a special character, you can put 100 of blank spaces, does not matter. Why? Because database will not use that name, display name, to refer that column. That column will not be referred by the name called account blank space name or address blank space 1 colon street 1. Nothing of that sort will be used by the database. So database is least bothered at what you are giving as a display name. This display name, which is shown on the form and the view, etc., are for your consumptions, for your client's ease of use. If I give something like ADD underscore street 1 underscore 1, what does that mean for the client who is a non-technical guy? What does that mean? Nothing. If the whole form is filled with cryptic names, parent underscore account or account ID, or account, instead of account names there is account underscore name or just name. If I give cryptic things on the form, then for you it might be easy because you are a developer, but for the end user who is a non-technical guy, reading those cryptic, difficult to read field names following DBMS rules is a nightmare. Give them a proper display name which the end user or the client can remember, can read and be comfortable with it. More often than not, these names will be customized or suggested by the client. If you like say name, I keep a field called name, most probably your client will come back, no, please give it as company name or organization name or something like that. All right. The thing I'm clicking on at present are called tabs. If you have done any kind of UI, you already know tabs. So let's not go into that. What we can do is divide the data or the UI elements, the fields, in groups, and then group them under the particular tab. So summary is the short summary of an account, like account name, phone, address, which you just want to have a look at one go. Then that becomes your summary. But if you want to go into details, you want more information about the account, so those fields have been grouped under a tab called details, which has description, contact preference, shipping preference, etc, etc. This is called a form, and you design that form. Every entity gets a form automatically. It does not have all the fields, it only have some fields. Then you go inside the customization and change it to look the way you want. So this is called a form. Every entity may have more than one form. If you click on a drop down here, you will see that account entity has 5 forms already, which you can change, customize, or create new. You can create new forms for your client. You can do a save as. So you open this form in customization and save as something else, and then customize it. So what is the advantage of customizing the same form with a different name? A, you do not mess the system form. B, you have a fallback. If something goes wrong, you have the original form. And C, you don't have to do the heavy legwork, because 90% form is already there. You just introduce the changes you want to make. So forms can be customized as much as you want. And there is JavaScript. These forms are running JavaScript behind the scene. Where JavaScript comes, customization comes. Heavy customization comes. These fields in table, they are called fields, columns, or whatever. But on the form, they are fields which are bringing data, but actually the UI element is called control. So the UI element is called control, which is populated by the field it is mapped to. So if it is mapped to account name, so this control will populate account name from the database. Why I am differentiating this? A, because it is not a field in a table directly. It is mapped to a field in a table, but it is a control. Just like your C# form, ASP.NET form. You can put a text box and name it account name. Does it make any difference? It will always be blank. When does it become meaningful? When you map that text box to a database column. If you change the mapping, let's assume that in account name you put the mapping as address 1, street 1. Fine. For computer is okay. It will show you the address in the account name, which does not make any sense to your client, but it can do that. And the controls can be designed by you. They are called PCF controls. Pretty useful thing. They use React. If you are good at React, you can use that. This is your form, and which you will use heavily when you are working on CRM. We just had a chat at the beginning about related entities or relationship, 1:1, n:1, and all that, foreign key, primary key, and everything. Where is that? It is showing just here, related. Look, if we open it, it shows all the entities or the tables which are related to this account. Most important one is the contacts. If I click on here, this will show all the contacts which work in this Fabricam company. So these 2 contacts work for this company. So they are showing up here. This is called associated grid or associated view, whatever you want to say. Why associated? Because it will always show only those records which are related to the parent record or the current record which you have opened. What have you opened? You have opened account. You haven't opened contact. Please do not confuse it. This is not the home grid. So you haven't opened contacts. You haven't opened any other entity. What have you opened? Accounts. If you want to look at the related contacts, you go to related and choose contacts. It will show you the associated views. Associated view means the related records for this account. Which related records? The contact records. It is a very handy feature. You can see all the related records from one place. You don't have to go to different places and search for relationship and write a join query, select asterisk from X, inner join Y on this and that. We don't have to mess with all those things. We just click and it will show you all the related records to Fabricam accounts. If we go on contacts, the same thing. First, what will open? The home grid. Again, I'm repeating myself. This is the home grid, which is showing a view called My Active View, which you can change. Something like that. I don't know whether there's some data. There's no data here, so it's not showing anything. Let me go to My Active Contacts, which is the default one. If I click on any one of them, remember, if you click on the full name, it will open the contact. If you click on the email, it will open the contact. But if you click on the company name, let me try. See what happens. It opens the account. So if you click on an entity kind of a field, it opens that particular record. Let me explain. I know it is confusing. Let me go back. Remember foreign key, primary key? This is your foreign key. What is this? This is the foreign key. Why is it the foreign key? Because this is the primary key of accounts. Out here, a company ID or account ID has been placed. And this is showing the relationship between company and contact, which is called a lookup field. What it is called? A lookup field. Please don't get alarmed by this weird name. Basically, it's just a foreign key. So don't get alarmed. So lookup fields are those which point to another record in a different table. Lookup fields are those which point to related records in a different table. You can come back immediately and say that I had told you that foreign keys are primary keys in a related table. Correct? So why isn't there an ID here? Where is the ID? Why is the name there? And as you know, name is not a very good primary key. This is the beauty of the software, not DBMS. DBMS hasn't changed. The concept of DBMS is still the same. Primary key is ID and the foreign key also stores the ID because primary key is used. But because this is a UI element and the client does not care or does not want to see that big grid, so what it is doing for you, it is showing a readable data called the account name. Again, I am repeating it. Lookup field. Lookup field in a table is nothing but a foreign key related to a different table. So you put a foreign key for accounts in contact. That becomes your lookup field. What it is looking up? The related account. How will it look up? By using the ID. On the UI element, it will show you the name of the related account. If the field is blank, if there is no ID, it will not show anything here. It will be null. So this is called a lookup field and you will use it extensively in CRM. This is your contact. I will just double click and show you. Form remains the same, as you know, means form is the same, but obviously the fields are different. The organization is different, like details and all that. How do I know it belongs to a particular company? Let me click on the summary. Please go away. I don't want this. And go to account name. You see this account name? Account name is the foreign key. Account name is the field, lookup field, which keeps the record of the related account. This tells me that Alex Baker works for a company called Trey Research. And yeah, these are dummy contacts and accounts. Please do not start sending emails to this particular person. And there is no company called Trey Research. Are you getting what I'm trying to push through? The other parts of this form are timeline. Timeline may seem cluttered and confusing and weird to you because we are developers, but imagine this is the activities done by Alex Baker with your company. So if there is an email to your company by Alex Baker and it is tracked, it is here. If you reply to Alex Baker, that is here. So this is like a thread. You can see what is going on continuously between Alex Baker since you had added Alex Baker. So for a year, 2 years, 3 years, all the records will be kept here and shown to you. So this is called your activity. Let me give you another example. Let's click on advanced find. This is a good time to show you this. Advanced find, or this filter button, is very important part of your armory. This helps you in searching stuff. When you want to search records, like you do a query in DBMS, the same thing is done here. To do a query, you use this. This is a UI. So let me show you something. Can you see this? There is a thing called meetings. And if I go to activities, let me go to activities, continue. And you see activity type, email. I can change the activity type. Is there activity type? No. Let me add a row and say activity type equals meeting. Let me see, meeting, yeah. And we do an apply. I'm sorry, I have to reduce the size of my the font size of the CRM just to bring this button in view. The scroll bar had disappeared. So I do an apply, and it is showing me all the activities that are a meeting. Again, I'm telling you, meeting is a table, email is a table, yeah. Activities are like a pointers. They keep the record or the pointer of each table. Now this contact, as you can see, I have changed everything. The address and whatever, I've changed everything. How does it get saved? Simple. Click on the save button. That's it. And it is saved. Yeah. Whenever you make some changes, click on the save button. It will get saved, or you leave it as it is. After a few seconds, it will automatically save it. Now, this is very dangerous. Suppose you are making some changes and you don't want autosave to work. The best way of stopping autosave from working is remove the value of this field. Why remove the value of this field? What is so special about this field? This red asterisk. Can you see this red asterisk? Let me increase my font. Okay. Do you see this red asterisk here? Whenever a field is marked with a red asterisk, it means it is a required field and it must be filled in. If you don't fill this required field, you cannot save this contact or this record. Some fields you can mark as required, mandatory. Unless and until those fields are marked, are updated, the record cannot be saved. Okay, so remember, forms are auto-saved in CRM. Want to stop the autosave? Simply remove the data from some required field and do your stuff. Once you have finished your stuff, go back and fill that data and it will auto save. If you are if you don't want to discard your updates and you are just moving away, it hasn't auto saved, so click on the save button. If you want to do it manually, click on the save button. If you leave it as such, all the fields are filled up properly, no required fields are left blank, the record will auto save. If you want to deactivate this contact, you can click on deactivate. What do you mean by deactivate? There are two ways of dealing with records you don't need. One is the brute force, delete it. One is the brute force, delete it. Just click here and you will see a delete button. Please be very careful with delete buttons. Because of this online thing, we do not have a backup ready in our server or in our control. Obviously, Microsoft can give you access to backups, but please do not use delete until and unless absolutely necessary, and not for main entities like leads, opportunities, contacts, accounts, invoices, quotes. Try not to use it unless and until it's absolutely necessary. Try not to use delete, because they have so many related records. If you delete one, if you delete the parent record, all the related records become orphan, and you will never be able to find them. You will never be able to relate them to some other records. So do not use delete unless and until you are sure. And because you are starting up, and because you are starting in CRM, please make it a rule of not using delete. Instead, if you want a contact to disappear, or if you want a contact to be marked as something which is not required, use this button which is called deactivate. If you click on this button, this contact will become deactivated. A deactivated contact is not operated upon by CRM by any default processes. All the default processes of CRM ignore a deactivated contact, account, or record. Okay, so that is the beauty of CRM. You can keep it, you can keep the record for your own history, but you also stop CRM and stop even users from operating on that record. So if I click on deactivate, this will go away and won't show up in any queries, default queries. Obviously, you can make queries for particular deactivated records. Please make sure all the field requirements are met. Okay, fine, I will. Okay, so let me put the last name. It was Viera, and now let me deactivate it. Deactivate, and this will be deactivated. It will be marked, you can see, with a padlock. Read only, this record status inactive. I cannot change anything. If I try, it will not allow me to change because it is deactivated. So try and get into habit of deactivating stuff instead of brute force delete. If you go on the gear icon and click on advanced settings, correct, this will open up the admin part of the software. You may not have access to it in your company's CRM. So have a look what all things you can do in administration. Most probably nothing. And out here, if you click on the bottom, you can see the app settings from where I had changed the map. Okay, the map configuration. This was a basic introduction to what we have studied up till now: entities, sales, different kind of forms, views, etc. We will go into much deeper study of all the concepts which we have just gone through, because I haven't shown you leads, I haven't shown you opportunities, I haven't shown you business process flows, I haven't shown you how to do or how to customize business processes flows. I haven't shown you customization at all. We will come to all that in later modules, because we need to learn CRM in small steps, baby steps, as they say. If we try to do too much at the very start, 9 out of 10 of you guys will get overwhelmed. So please go through this video as many times as you want and try and understand what is a form, what is a view, etc. If you liked my video, if you think this video is useful for your understanding, then please like, share and subscribe my videos. It will motivate me to keep making more informative, more better videos for you guys. Enjoy yourself, watch my videos, practice on your dummy CRM or in your company's sandbox, and let me know what else you want to learn. You have to practice, you have to click on stuff and see what is there. Okay, we will continue sales module in the next part. We will see things in more details. I may show you some customization, which are my favorite. Sales module is important for you to understand. Don't try to skip sales module. Bye bye, see you next time.